The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. All-star cast for you today. This is something really special. Bob Bleier joining us to talk NFL draft, former New England Patriot.
I want to talk about the NFL draft, and I want to talk about Tiger, too.
All right, we'll do that. Kevin Oklobzija joins us, hockey expert extraordinaire.
This is a tough chair to have to fill.
I know, in for Mike Catalana, but this is great.
You're
'cause
filling
we've
it
seen
just
these guys
fine,
a lot.
man.
Granted, I didn't wear my Eagles jersey or anything.
Yeah, sorry.
Pat Duffy, guy with the guns. What are you wearing?
This is NFL draft this week, right? This is the Sammy Watkins draft day jersey.
Quite impressive. The number one on it.
Yeah. Well, that would be the one.
Guns out, guns out.
I apologize. I forgot to bring an undershirt, so you're going to have to deal with this for the next 30 minutes.
Well, we're going to talk about the NFL draft, which is coming up this week. Put the Bills aside for the moment. The rest of the league, really, a lot of this hinges on what the Cardinals decide to do with the guy they took last year, Josh Rosen.
No doubt about it. I think Murray's going to be a really good opportunity for them. He's a dynamic player. He's skilled. He can run out of the pocket. He's a good thrower. He comes from a great program. I think that quarterbacks are going to be big this year. They got a 6'10" guy that's in the draft as well, a guy from Duke Strong. But everything's going to be hinged upon that pick, and I think the whole draft's going to fall into place thereafter.
And what a reversal of the fortune for Arizona. I mean, they took a first-round guy last year, and they come right back at the top of the draft, and they already see the need to do it again?
Yeah, it sounds like Buffalo, doesn't it? Sounds like what the Bills have been doing with quarterbacks, the round robin.
Well, at least they wait like 2, 3, 4 years. This is absolute insanity.
This has happened once before. The Colts.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right,
well,
right.
I mean, you can
One
also
other
make the
time.
argument
One
that
other time they've taken a quarterback first overall in back-to-back
And then
years.
replaced him.
Who were they?
Elway the second time. The first one was, Arch Schleister.
Schleisters, yeah.
Yes.
But Elway doesn't really count because Elway never took a snap for the Colts, right? I
He
guess
wasn't playing there from the beginning.
you can make an argument that the Cowboys kind of did this in the supplemental draft with Aikman and Steve Walsh back-to-back years when Jimmy Johnson was being crazy. But listen, I've never seen dysfunction like I'm seeing in the front office with the Arizona Cardinals right now. You hire a first-year coach, you let him pick a first-round quarterback, you blow him out after one season. You bring in a flash-in-the-pan college coach, and even that is being generous, right? The guy could barely go over 500 or what? The Big 12, right? And you're going to let him take a quarterback again with the first overall pick. Ship off your first-round quarterback from last year for pennies on the dollar and hope to God that this undersized freak athlete is going to be able to be the quarterback you need.
His job's on the line. The GM, there's no question, and he believes what he's doing because he knows he's getting fired if this doesn't work.
This is make or break it.
Yeah.
Make or break.
Is this draft this good for quarterbacks? I mean, in 10 years, are people going to go, boy, that Murray,
Well, it's
okay,
not
he can
compared
play."
to what happened last year,
Right.
certainly.
Well,
I think there's a handful of kids that are solid. To do quarterback, I think, is a better pick, in my opinion. I think he's the next Tom Brady, to tell you the truth. I know he's only got a 59 or 60% completion percentage, but I think he's a franchise kid, and I think he's going to be a really great pick for some team who needs a QB.
Yeah, then everything else is like linemen, mostly defensive, right?
yeah, I mean, you got Bosa coming out. He's probably going to be second overall out to San Francisco, which is funny. Like, you can make the argument that San Francisco taking Kyler Murray is the good idea with everything going on quarterback-wise, injury question marks there. But, I mean, they're not going to get the chance, right? You're going to end up having the top guy off the board at 1, and then, you're right, it's just a list of big fat guys you've never heard of up until the Bills maybe take Ed Oliver at 9.
All right, well, we'll look at the Bills next. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. We'll be back.
The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse, our pre-draft edition. Kevin, you got a guy you'd like to see the Bills take.
I like Metcalf. I think you can never be too deep at wide receiver.
And there's certainly a need there.
Yes, there is. I mean, they've signed some guys, but who are they? Let's get a guy who is proven.
Beasley, are you kidding me?
Well,
Who are they? I don't know. Guys who have been stars on other NFL teams. They've been those guys. Other than that, who are they?
But you guys are on the same page here, right?
Well, I was up until he said it, so I'm out now. No, I really love. I've been saying for weeks.
or I'm out, because if he agrees.
I love DK Metcalf. I think he's too much of a physical freak, and I just, come on, man. Like, he looks awesome. That being said, I'm kind of getting on the tight end train with Hawkinson coming out of Iowa there. Like, you were talking about it in the commercial break. People are saying he's like that transcendent tight end. My fear with that is whenever they say it's a transcendent tight end, they're not. It's the guys that you never see coming are the ones that change the game. Rob Gronkowski being picked in the, second or third round. Your Antonio Gates, who's a former basketball player who doesn't play it down of college football.
Gonzalez.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's never those guys that you think are going to be the successful ones. And now you might be a little high for a tight end. So I'm with Metcalf.
Well, those are the flashy picks. Who do you go with, Bob?
I think Metcalf's a great pick, but I think Oliver's a great pick for them. But I think they got to button up the edges on offense, and having that really tough defensive lineman that can kind of blow through a double team, wreak havoc on the running game. And I think they avoid the receiver first. I think they got to go D-line, O-line.
How much of the approach that the Bills are taking in the draft, how much was that affected, do you think, by what they did in free agency?
I mean, listen, I think they went out in free agency and spread everything so they could do whatever they wanted in the draft, right? Like, you've seen Bills front offices in the past kind of pin their way into having to choose something. I like what they did, but it also scares me. Now, I don't think Ed Oliver should be the pick, but he's going to be the pick. If Ed Oliver is on the board at 9, Sean McDermott will not be able to say no to a D tackle that plays that way. And I mean, I said that, 3 months ago?
Agreed.
So whether they went out and did what they did or didn't, it was going to be Oliver the whole time.
Yeah, but it's nice they gave themselves options by filling at least somewhat the two most glaring needs in the offensive line and the wide receiver. They allow themselves to do whatever presents itself at the draft.
Do you fear he's undersized for a D tackle?
No, I think he's too physical to worry about being undersized. You watch his video, and every double team he fights through, he's able to stand tall at the line of scrimmage and shed guys. I think he could be a game changer on the D line, especially with that linebacking core that I love the Bills have.
You did film study for this show.
I did.
That's very impressive.
I gotta go
Well,
up
once you
against
start
Duffy.
like you went high school, you just can't get it. It's in your blood.
It is.
We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Like It or Not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Today is all about belief. Right? It's not enough for me to believe it. It's not enough for Coach Hill or Coach Barstrom to believe it. You have to be the ones that believe that you are capable of running the way that we all know you are capable of, and that those negative thoughts that are coming into your head, you can acknowledge and push away. What's your response to them going to be? 5 more meters, 5 more meters, 5 more meters.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Well, look, I consider you two of the most knowledgeable hockey people I know. Like it or not, how is it possible that the Tampa Bay Lightning got swept in the NHL playoffs?
There's not a big difference between 1 and 16. There is, talent isn't that different. I do believe what John Cooper said in that when you play 2 months of fairly meaningless games, that if you haven't been there before, if you haven't gone through it game after game, if you're not driven game after game, then turning it on again isn't easy, and they found that out. Especially they jump up 3-0. 3-0, game one. Oh, we are on our way.
Doesn't that kind of blow his theory out of the water that the second you came out of the gate after playing
Doesn't
2
mean
months
they
of
played that
meaningless
well.
hockey? What are you talking about? They were up 3-0 for
Doesn't mean they
goodness
played that
sake.
well.
He's context, historically great season they had.
It was
They
one
get
of-
swept in 4 games.
They're arguably the best hockey team of the last 25 years. Is that an outrageous statement to make? Right? They were 12 games better than any other NHL team this season, right? 12 wins better.
They got to play the Sabres. Those don't count.
Okay, oh, for God's
Actually, the
sakes.
Sabres beat them.
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, here's
Just taking shots.
Hey, it's an easy target.
the easy excuse would have been this is not the bottom-seeded team that they seem to be.
And they were not.
That's what I'm saying.
They loaded up at the deadline to make their run.
Columbus sacrificed everything that they have. They sacrificed the next 5 years.
Because they know Panarin's gone, they know Bob's gone, so...
They bring in Duchesne, two of the top, unrestricted free agents coming. So it took them a couple of weeks to gel. When they did, boom, they hit their stride. It's shocking they were swept. But it's not shocking that they struggled with this team. And here's the thing. Columbus is not off the hook for this, by the way. Their franchise is going to be a tire fire for the next 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah, but this year, now how far can they take this?
So that's just it. Unless you win a cup, it's a huge failure, and I'm not convinced that they're good enough to get past either Boston or Toronto, right? Coming out of the rest of that series.
No round is easy. I mean, just because you've knocked off the number one team doesn't mean your next round will be any easier. It's a tough grind, but I will say this, as there's a lot of good coaches in the NHL, but I think John Tortorella is a tactician and a guy who gets a team ready is really good.
Oh my God, really? And that's when his teams are doing well. When they're not doing well, he's a complete tire fire. He's a joke, right? He says stupid things, pisses everybody off for absolutely no reason. Tortorella.
Do you know how much he's changed?
Really? I watch a whole heck. That's changed?
Yeah.
That's changed. What this is now is changed.
Oh, yeah.
Tortorella's a joke. Get out
Bobby,
of here.
like it or not, Tiger Woods 2.
Wow.
Wait a minute, didn't you say we're like two of the most knowledgeable hockey people?
I think we've had
we're
At least one.
Well, we got to involve him.
Not him.
how many? Well, you know what? I'll get involved in the hockey discussion. This is a colossal breakdown. If this happened in any other professional sport, it's game, set, and match for that whole franchise, that whole list of coaches. Can you imagine if the Warriors lost in the first round with their miraculous win season a few years ago?
By the way, I'm not a basketball guy. They look a little bored right now.
They're bored with it because their wins are too easy. They're too easy.
When he said colossal breakdown, he was talking about your hockey analysis. I just want to let you know.
In any event,
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods. How many of us got really involved in the Masters again this year? How exciting was it? I found myself glued to the TV, and when I wasn't able to get to a TV, I was watching on my phone constantly. That run he made on Sunday was amazing. You saw a lot of guys pucker up on Sunday when he started to make his charge, birdie after birdie after birdie, and I thought his demeanor was outstanding. He felt like the old Tiger. He was reserved, he was calm, cool, collected, even when he had those 2 bogeys on the backside. I thought it was amazing.
It's an interesting
dynamic.
dynamic.
I'm a fan.
Because he's still getting older, so there's a diminishing returns involved here as to how long now he's got the second start. He can still be relevant.
I think, he was laser sharp with his irons on Sunday, and that's how you put pressure on all the competition. Everybody fell behind him, knocking it in the drink. It was amazing to watch, to see how the field, 20 years later from his last major, kind of faltered and folded and kind of watched and had their eye on him in the leaderboard the entire Sunday. It was like 20 years ago.
How invested we
And you
became.
mentioned his demeanor. I was most impressed by his walk-up 18. You know how people say, oh, make it look like you've been there before?
Yeah.
He did. And
Yeah.
he knew, all right, yeah, I got this, but his look said, I also know I still have to make a shot.
Yeah.
Still have to make a putt.
But what I liked about it is he tried to make the putt on 18. He went for it. He didn't lag it. It ended up being a lag putt, but he went by the hole. He tried to make that to kind of put the dagger in the heart, which I'm a fan. I was really excited about Sunday, and I think the whole crowd was.
We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business is next.
And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Make a Dunkin' run for a $2 pick-me-up and avoid the afternoon drag.
Should have got one for John.
Yeah. Sorry, John.
It's okay.
Get a $2 medium cold brew from 2 to 6 p.m. Try it a new delicious chocolate cherry. America runs on Dunkin'.
Spencer, like it or not, Tim Tebow as a baseball player.
I don't like it just because I think I'm very Tim Tebow'd out. Whether it's him trying to get back into football, or I know he's on that show Home Free. I think he was on, being like he was like motivating all the people to like work hard. My mom watches that show, so she has it on, and I would be like, oh, why is Tim Tebow on the show? But anyway, I just think I'm very Tim Tebow'd out at this point, where I'm kind of like over it. But I mean, I guess props to him for continuing to try to pursue something he loves. You can tell just by the fact that he's always trying to do something, whether it's sticking around in football for the SEC network or even ESPN or whatever it might be. He's trying to stay in sports and show that competitive drive that he has, and now he's trying to do it in, I guess, a different sport. And I found out he actually was an all-state player when he was younger. So
that was in high school.
Yeah,
there's a lot of ground between
there's a big gap,
29-year-olds.
but he must have some kind of talent to at least have been recognized when he was in high school. So I guess we'll see what he has.
And whether he fouls or not, he's still speaking to his brand. I mean, what's been his motto, his mantra, his whole entire career is never give up, follow your dreams.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse Unfinished Business. Brought to you by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat.
All right, it's okay to have fun. It's okay to go watch sports for non-sports reasons, right? So Tim Tebow was in town this past week with the Rochester Red Wings at Frontier Field, and there are some people who want to be a little bit crotchety about Tim Tebow doesn't belong playing International League Baseball. You know what? It doesn't matter, because the folks that went out to go meet Tebow during a raid out on Monday, folks that started lining up at 10 in the morning and stayed till 5 o'clock without a baseball game, in the wind and the rain and the cold, had a good time. And the folks that got to see him at the doubleheader on Tuesday and during the day game on Wednesday are going to remember that too. He's going to be coming back right through town. I don't think the Mets are going to call him up if they do before they're out of the playoffs this season. It's fine. Don't get cranky. Don't be one of these baseball people that says it has to be this way because it's always been this way. It's okay to go to the ballpark and just have fun.
Can he play Major League Baseball? No. But look at the Red Wings roster. 3/4 on that team won't play Major League Baseball either. So I don't have a problem with him.
They scored 20 runs the other day.
Oh my gosh, you would have hit a home run that day.
Funny footnote to Tim Tebow being here. There's a league mandate that he can't be the taco strikeout guy. They don't want to embarrass him.
Look at you just pouring it on.
I'm just saying.
Fun for you having fun? Stop it. I'm Bill Pucko.
Can't be taco guy. Go ahead, Bob.
Kudos to Section 5 basketball here in the Rochester area. There's a lot of elite players that are coming out of some of the major schools here in Rochester in Section 5. And I want to give kudos to the #1 recruit player in the country is a Rochester native, Isaiah Stewart. So kudos to him. Kudos to the Rochester City Rocks team that's newly formed this year. And kudos to the Albany City Rocks team, who has the forethought to gather all these players from around the region, get them together to play together, and have a really good elite program where a lot of Division I colleges are able to look at these players and really evaluate them and give them a great opportunity to be student athletes with their college skills. So kudos to Mr. Stewart.
It is so cool. Isaiah Stewart is like right on the cusp. I mean, he could be one of the biggest things that's ever happened sports-wise to this town.
Especially in Rochester, yeah. I mean, John Wallace Sr. was a really good player out of Athena who ended up going to Cuse and having a good NBA career, but I think he is in a league of his own. He's a dynamic player. He's strong, he's solid, he can dunk over you, he can hit you on the dribble, he can pull up all over the court. Very dynamic player. We're going to be watching him in the NBA. Absolutely.
And see him at Washington next year.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin.
So the Buffalo Sabres need a coach. There was talk of Todd McClellan. There was talk of Elaine Vigneault. There was talk of pretty much every recycled. Can we just get a new coach? Can we get some new blood? Can we get the next John Cooper? I don't care what they did in the playoffs this year. Can we get the next young player? Baseball has no problem with going out and getting an Aaron Boone, a Kevin Cash, Rocco Baldelli. They will go with young guys who are unproven. And hockey, why are we recycling Ken Hitchcock and all these people who've had a chance? Joel Quenneville with Florida, that's okay. He wins cups. He's not that far removed from knowing what it Give me somebody different. I don't care if it's the greatest college coach or it's somebody from the USHL. I don't want recycled.
Give me a name. You got anybody you
Pat
like?
Duffy.
That's a good one. Chris Taylor.
Are you in the Chris Taylor camp?
I think Botch ruled that out when he said it's tough to get experience in the NHL. So that, when he was talking about Housley's lack of NHL bench experience as a head coach, and I think that rule.
Well, that makes it less likely that what you're saying is going to happen at all then, don't you think?
Somebody different, somebody new. Tails just hasn't been a coach as long as some of these other guys who are coming up.
This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse Unfinished Business, brought to you by Duncan. America runs on Duncan. Bobby, thank you very much.
Good to be here. See you soon.
Kevin, great. You guys look great together. We'll do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
Pat, as always.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. See you next week with the Rochester Press Box.